Does anyone else think Naruto Part 2 is underappreciated? I feel like the consensus is that Part 1 is better. I also used to think that, but after trying to skim through it, I actually became invested and started reading thoroughly. There were things that I didn't notice and things that I forgot. In this video, I want to give Part 2 its flowers and explain why it felt so different. If I were to describe Part 2 with one word, especially up until the pain arc, it would be minimalist. Minimalism is very present throughout the early arcs in Part 2 and is something I've learned to appreciate or see the beauty in. The plot is a little minimalist. There's a lot less going on in each arc. If you look at the Chunin exams, it's packed with events. Even simpler arcs like the Land of Waves had a midpoint plot twist and much more emotional stories for its villains. The Tsunade arc and the Sasuke arc were kinda simple as well, but they had very eventful beginnings. Tsunade started with the Akatsuki pulling up to the leaf hunting for Naruto. The Sasuke arc started with Naruto versus Sasuke and then Sasuke leaving the leaf. In Part 2, everything feels simpler. The arcs either have one simple mission at the forefront, like tracking down Gaara or Orochimaru's hideout or Akatsuki members, or the bulk of the arc is just fighting, like in the Jiraiya arc or Brothers arc. It's minimal, but it's also straight to the point. One issue I've noticed with a lot of battle manga is what I call side quest syndrome. This is when a story gets distracted from the main quest of the overarching plot and instead focuses on adjacent plots. Part 2 doesn't have this issue because every single arc is laser focused on one of the main goals. Naruto's main quest is to bring back Sasuke. Sasuke's main quest is to kill Itachi. The Akatsuki's main quest is to gather the tailed beast. The Leaf's main quest is to stop the Akatsuki. Nearly every arc has one of those main quests as its engine. The kazekage has Deidara and Sasori capturing Gaara and the Leaf fighting back. The Tenchi arc is Team 7 trying to bring back Sasuke. The suppression arc is the Akatsuki versus the Leaf. The Akatsuki collected more Biju here too. The Itachi arc is Sasuke looking for Itachi, and the Leaf looking for Itachi to get to Sasuke. The Jiraiya arc is the Leaf versus Akatsuki. The Brothers arc is Sasuke finally killing Itachi. The Pain arc is Pain coming for the last tailed beast. Every arc is moving the plot forward as effectively as possible. The fights are also minimalist. If you read the manga, a lot of fights are either skipped or much shorter than those in Part 1. Even fights you'd expect to be big, like Team 7 versus Sasuke or Sasuke versus Orochimaru, these fights get longer as time goes on. For example, the Suppression arc had long fights, the Itachi arc ended with a long fight, and all the arcs afterward have at least one long fight. I don't like the fact that the fight started off short, but I do appreciate that it allowed for more time to focus on the actual story and move the plot forward. The story overall has become a lot less indulgent. Seeing characters get a solo fight like in Bleach or One Piece would be cool, but in the long run, does a cool fight really help the story that much? Unless the fight has character development or a theme, not really, and it feels like Kishimoto realized this and cut down on them. There aren't any arcs where I feel like time was wasted. In fact, most of the arcs left me wanting more. Some would argue that's what stories should do, but once the fights got longer, they surpassed the ones in Part 1. I guarantee you, if I made a list of top 5 Naruto fights, all of the top 5 are going to be from Part 2. The subplots were also minimalist. When I say subplot, I mean a story within a story, like Inception. The Sasuke arc from Part 1 is the easiest comparison. Even though the plot of the arc was simple, it was packed with subplots. Naruto and Sasuke had their rivalry story. Choji had a story about his loyalty to Shikamaru. Neji's story from the exams was continued, and we get to see the outcome. Lee's story from the exams was also continued, and we get to see that outcome. Shikamaru's leadership story is further expanded upon. First he became a Chunin, now he's a team leader on a mission. Arcs in Part 2 aren't built like that. They usually only have one subplot, but once again, it allows for the story to move quicker. My only issue is that characters who don't have subplots don't need to be included in the story. For example, Team Guy was in the kazekage arc, but they didn't have any subplots or cool fights. It felt like they were there for fan service. In the suppression arc, I feel like Choji and Ino could have been given subplots too, since they were on Team Asuma and also lost Asuma. But good examples would be Chiyo and Sai in their respective arcs. They had such complete and satisfying subplots that came with character arcs. The themes were also a little minimalist. The first 2 arcs of Part 2 had themes, but the next 4, Suppression to Brothers, didn't. They were so laser focused on getting the plot moving and completing the main quest that they didn't include a theme, but the satisfaction of having major story impacts softens the blow. It's also poetic how minimalism was also reflected in the art. The artwork no longer had hatching and cross-hatching, which were the signatures of Kishimoto's early artwork. The artwork in early Part 2 focused entirely on line art and still somehow managed to look good. Apart from minimalism, there's a lot of unappreciated content in these early stages. The thing that I love the most is the amount of times we get to see the characters at rest. That could be Leaf Ninja, Akatsuki, or even Hebi. When the characters are just chilling, we get to see more of their personalities and many charming interactions. This part of Kishimoto's work is so underrated. He even made the bad guys funny and charismatic. Examples that come to mind are many side moments, especially when he's eating with Team Kakashi and Asuma, this Sasuke, Suigetsu, and Karin when they're forming a team, Deidara and Tobi when they catch the Three Tails, Kakuzu and Hidan, and Itachi and Kisame's debate. The characters are just overflowing with personality and immaculate chemistry, and I feel like we didn't get a lot of that in Part 1. Another thing I noticed and liked is how ninja-like the story had become. For the first few arcs of Part 2, Naruto had actually developed a formula. but it was so subtle that I never noticed it. The characters would receive a mission, they'd recruit a team, then go to a location / track down someone, and then there'd be a final battle. In Arc 1, they recruit Shio and Team Guy. In Arc 2, they recruit Sai and Yamato. In Arc 3, they form the new team, the Niju Shotai, or 20 platoons. In Arc 4, Sasuke formed Team Heavy, and the Leaf formed the 8-man squad. The amount of new teams that are made and combined in these first arcs is cool. The way some teams are formed for a specific mission is a piece of world building that I never noticed. The way characters use their specific abilities to assist the team in tracking is also cool. Pakun used his sense of smell to track targets, Ino used her mind transfer on a bird to track the akatsuki, and all of Team Kurenai was used to track down Itachi. That also means that Team Kakashi had teamed up with the other 3 teams at least once, which is also cool. The 8-man squad also had 2 formations of attack strategies using the unique powers of the team. The fact that almost every mission required some kind of tracking felt like something ninja would actually do, at least the pop culture version of ninja. I remember people used to complain about Naruto not being very ninja-like, but I'd say ninja missions where you have to recruit the right people and track down a target and either kill or apprehend them is very ninja-like. And Naruto did it 6 times in 4 arcs. Another thing that came to my attention was Kakashi's approach to Sasuke versus Shikamaru. He told Sasuke not to seek revenge, but help Shikamaru get revenge. I remember fans calling him a hypocrite before, but it makes sense to me now. The Niju Shotai was created by Tsunade and given the mission to capture or kill the Akatsuki members. Asuma's group failed to do that, so Team Asuma decided to complete the mission for revenge. Kakashi helped them complete that mission. In Sasuke's case, killing Itachi wasn't a mission assigned by the Hokage. It was just a personal thing that was causing a rift between him and his friends. Sasuke used a dangerous attack on Naruto to get stronger for his revenge. He also treated Sakura disrespectfully before the fight. Shikamaru's revenge didn't have these negative side effects. Another small detail regarding Team Asuma is their earrings. The short flashback of Asuma giving them all matching earrings was a small detail, but a cool detail. I never noticed that they all wore the same earrings. Finally, I completely forgot that Tobi was hinted to be the leader all along. In chapter 363, before Pain ever fights, Konan tells him our leader is here, and is some guy whose face is blocked out. I used to think that Pain was being manipulated by Tobi, but in reality, he knew Tobi, the goofy guy who replaced Sasori, was actually the shadow leader the whole time. That's a great setup. These are the reasons I feel like part 2 is underappreciated, specifically the earlier stages. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and help me revolutionize the manga industry by buying my manga and spreading the word. All important links will be in the description.